It seemed like a fairy tale. A beautiful ballerina, seen here dancing in the Nutcracker for the Maryland Youth Ballet, swept off her feet by a dashing older man. Married after only 13 days, Doug and Ashley Benefield seemed like they had it all. But less than 4 years later, Doug would be dead and Ashley charged with murder. Her trial in this Florida courtroom dubbed the Black Swan murder trial.
The only person standing in your way is you.
After the movie starring Natalie Portman.
Because of your ballet background, some people have labeled you the Black Swan.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
I think what it comes down to is that the Black Swan has a catchy ring and it sensationalizes my life and my situation. And so they ran with it. And it's sad to me that people who don't even know me have this idea of a monster when they think of me.
Doug and Ashley met in 2016 at a political event. They instantly connected despite their 30-year age difference. Doug was a recently widowed father to a teenage daughter, Eva. At her stepmother's trial, Eva testified about the early days of their romance.
They were just with each other all the time. It was very lovey-dovey. They never left each other's side.
Doug even reversed his vasectomy so he and Ashley could have a child together. But their whirlwind romance started to crumble. The ballet company they started together failed. Soon, their marriage fell apart.
Ms. Benefield was alleging that Doug had been violent toward her. She alleged that he, I think, had hit the dog, fired a gun into the ceiling. The biggest allegation was that he was poisoning her and their child in utero with heavy metals.
In text messages submitted as evidence, Doug admitted to shooting a gun in the home, writing, "I shot the gun. How many times did I tell you I was having a nervous breakdown?" And punching their dog after an argument about his daughter. "I punched the dog because you got me so mad, like you wouldn't stop about Eva, always Eva." Ashley sat down exclusively with 2020 co-anchor Deborah Roberts just before her trial began.
How are you doing?
It depends on the moment. Yeah, there's good days and rough days, good moments and rough moments.
You haven't spoken out before. Why did you decide to talk now?
I'm really doing it for other people. Because I know I'm not alone in this. There are women all over the country, all over the world, who have gone through or are going through hard situations behind closed doors. Until you have been there or it's someone that you know and care about, it's not something that you think about.
While pregnant with the couple's daughter, Ashley moved to Florida. Doug's former attorney testifying Ashley didn't tell Doug when she had the baby.
Gosh, we didn't know for a good 5 or 6 weeks after she was born.
He only found out when Ashley filed a restraining order.
And so on May 6th, I saw that Ms. Benefield had filed a petition for protection against domestic violence. And in that filing, there was, she identified the birth date of the child, as well as I think the child's name, which is the first time we learned about that too.
Okay.
In opening statements, prosecutors claiming Ashley wanted Doug out of her life so she could raise their daughter alone.
This case is about a woman who very early on in her pregnancy decided she wanted to be a single mother. When there was no other option, she shoots him and kills him and claims self-defense.
But Ashley's attorney countering that she was trapped in an abusive relationship.
Doug Benefield was a manipulative, cunning, and abusive man who absolutely insisted on control.
Doug's cousin Tommy also sitting down with 2020.
I'm here today to tell Doug's story because he's not here. We want to tell the truth. We want to acknowledge his flaws, his mistakes like he did. but we want him to be remembered for the great human man that he was.
Things came to a head on September 27, 2020. Doug was helping Ashley load a U-Haul at her mother's house. They were planning on moving to Maryland, with Doug living separately. According to court documents filed by the defense, Ashley says Doug struck her, hitting her on the side of her head, and then tried to keep her from leaving the room. The clinical psychologist who had previously evaluated Ashley and Doug testifying.
When I saw her after the incident, there was edema, swelling on the side of her face.
Ashley claims she feared for her life and shot him multiple times in self-defense before running to her neighbor's house.
She's with me now, quite upset. The weapon is here. We need the police before her mother and the little girl gets back from the park. I don't want them to find this.
Now 32, Ashley choking back tears as jurors heard that 911 call.
She came in, she was quite hysterical. I didn't know who was banging on my door. Said that he attacked her and she shot him. They've been having trouble.
Doug's adult daughter, Eva, telling 2020 she doesn't believe it was self-defense.
If it was self-defense, why did she shoot multiple times, you know? If I was defending myself in a situation, I would shoot once and I wouldn't shoot to kill. I wouldn't take a life away.
In court, the medical examiner testified that the gun was fired from at least 3 feet away.
I determined the manner of death to be homicide.
No one is disagreeing that Doug Benefield died at the hands of another. The question is whether or not that death was justified by what Ashley Benefield perceived in that moment.
There was always this little thought in the back of my head that said Ashley's going to do something to him. Ashley's going to sabotage him somehow. So when that happened, I was obviously shocked, but that little voice in the back of my head said I was right. She did. She killed him.
Outside court, advocates for survivors of domestic violence have rallied around Ashley, including her mother and daughter Emerson, now 6 years old.
But we want the truth. We want everything out there so people will see that Ashley is not guilty for what they say she is.
The prosecution rested their case today. The defense begins tomorrow.
The defense is going to put on witnesses and evidence to try to argue that she had reason to fear for her life based on the months and years of abuse.
The jury of 5 women and 1 man are expected to begin deliberating Ashley's fate next week.
You could possibly go to jail for a very long time.
It's a horrible reality. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Emerson's already been through a lot. I can't imagine how this would affect her if things were to go poorly at trial.